Hi, welcome to the Quinta. So in this video we're actually going to do 2 hive inspections. Let's go and have a look. Did you get stung? Did you? Oh, poor girl. You don't like these, do you? No, you don't. No, you don't. Oh, terrible. Were they horrible? Is that why are they wearing these suits? Shall I go and smell the hive? I'm not going to do that again, are you? Look at you. Honestly. Oi! Wow, it's really windy today. A little bit more sheltered up here by the bees, but you can see the hammock and everything is being blown around. I've just come to have a quick look and see how they're settling in. It's 5 o'clock and we are towards the end of March, and to me, a very inexperienced beekeeper, they look like some happy bees, don't they, Maya? You'll get stung again. So I'm itching to open them up and have a look and see how they're doing, but I'm going to resist that temptation on the advice of the really amazing people that I got the bees from. Thank you so much for your time and the absolute masterclass in splitting a colony and showing me around them. But anyway, they advised let them settle in for a good week. There was a lot of brood and we'll have a look at that later on in the video, so you're going to see it before I do, if you know what I mean. And with any luck that should have started to hatch, and the queen, she's overwintered. She's a pretty strong queen by the looks of her, and we've got a nuke, and we'll explain that a little bit later on, in the middle, and then we've got 2 empty frames of foundation the either side of that colony for them to expand into. So yeah, I'm really excited, so come along for the rest of the video. I'm just gonna stand here and watch the bees for a bit longer though, because they are absolutely fascinating. So a bit of a disclaimer here, I am definitely not a professional beekeeper. In fact, you're going to be seeing me going through the hive, opening it up for the first time on my own. So please do feel free to tell me what I'm doing wrong in the comments, and hopefully it'll be an interesting ride for all of us to come along on. Maya, leave the compost alone. Ah! Yuck. What you doing?
Getting ready.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
Yes, so we've got the bee suits on and we've got the smoke. So we're going to wander up and open up the hive for the first time. It's been a week that we've had the bees. They've hopefully settled in nicely. And yeah, should be a bit of fun hopefully. Je peux juste prendre ça. If you get a bee inside your suit, you need to squish it.
Okay.
Okay, hopefully you won't, but if one does get in, you don't really be mucking around too much.
There we go.
First things first, we're going to give them a bit of smoke, and what the smoke does is it calms them down, but not necessarily in the manner that you might think. It actually gets them to start eating honey, and when they eat honey, their abdomens go sort of, you know, full, and they are less able to sting. So that's actually why we do it. first things first, when you get to the beehive, you don't want to stand directly in front of where the bees are flying in and out. You know, you get in the way. They don't want to fly around you, and you know, that's just inconvenient for them. They're going to notice someone there and they might get a bit feisty. So standing to the side, we take the top off and we set it down safely out of the way. You can see they're munching away on that, and that is just to give them some extra grub. So we'll take the top off and let them get on with that. Give them a little bit of a, just a little bit of a whiff of smoke. Now I feel quite a lot of adrenaline going. So we'll get that top off, and again, lay it to one side, keep it out of the way. And I've got the hive tool here, and the hive tool is basically just a lever. And I've also got this rather handy little device which is for grabbing combs, and that way you can more easily manipulate them with one hand. It's quite tricky, as you can see, comparing the first hive inspection to the second one. It's a lot easier with this little bit of kit. So what I'm doing is I'm breaking the propolis, which is the bee glue, which is made of various resins and what have you, and that is just going to allow me to lift out and have a look at the frame. So I'm starting at the outside. These, as you can see from the first video, we put in as just foundation. And you can really see on the other side that they haven't started drawing out the comb yet. So let's get those off there and put that one down. So I don't want to take loads out at the moment. I was going to slide them across and have a look at each one as we go. Okay, so I'm going to take out the one of the frames right at the edge. The centre is where you'll generally find the centre of the nest, and as you go out you get the brood, the eggs, and then they start putting in honey and pollen and food. So what I want to look for is there food? Is the comb drawn out here? And now, using the hive tool, we just break the propolis seal as before, and we're going to go through the hive and have a look at each of the combs in turn, see if we can see the queen, and check that she has been laying, and check that everything looks comfy, as it were. These are drone cells. You see they've sort of got their big cups on them, and the drones are the male ones, and their real job is just to go out and fertilise the queen. Now, I don't think we're going to see the queen here, but yeah, lots of drone cells, and I don't know whether you can see just in there, excuse me bees, can you see in here we've actually got larvae, and they're feeding the larvae, and what they'll eventually do is to cap it off. I'm just going to put you over there, and then they will develop into real bees. Can you see there's some nectar here? Can you see? Amazing.
Oh yes, yeah. That's a lot of it.
Yeah. So, I'm just going to put that there for a second and give them a little bit more of that, just to hopefully not stress them out. Okay, so the next one, you can see this is propolis on here. This is the bee glue that they use to seal up everything, and because they don't like light, and so they'll seal up against predators and against any ingress of light. Let's have a quick look, see if I can see the queen. Right, this is brood.
This one?
Now that's a drone. Drones are a bit bigger, and the younger bees, where they get out of the way, they're a bit fluffier. You see, here's a drone.
Oh, okay. Alright. So
Alright, and these are the worker bees. And we've got a bit of some capped stores here, so that is honey. And then here, this is brood, and this is worker brood. So they are going to be the next generation of female bees.
The noise is amazing.
Yeah, amazing noise. Right, let's get this next one out. I'm just gonna get this side as well. Sorry, bee. I'm gonna squish too many. So the propolis is a really impressive glue, and it's made of like tree resin. Okay, I haven't seen the queen yet.
Full of pollen, that one.
Yeah, lots of red pollen on that
pollen.
one's feet, and yellow on another. And I've got lots more capped brood. We've got some capped stores, and yeah, that's all looking good. You see where they have actually hatched out. This was all full of brood, and I can see more larvae in there, so that's really good news. So the queen is obviously laying. We've got some more drone brood here. Back in there. Covered in the propolis. Okay. It's all looking really quite healthy. There's lots of nice brood here. I've got some nectar. Can you see just in here? It's glistening away. Yeah, that's nectar, which I'll be reducing the water content so that it becomes honey. Sorry, you think you saw the queen?
No. Oh, actually, no, that's a drone, is it?
Yeah, that's another drone, yeah. The dog's barking at, probably the young Keith. Okay. Let's get this out. Try not to squish too many bees. Right. See, they're storing nectar up here, turn that into honey. And that's a huge amount of brood. I mean, they've got loads and loads of bees. So next week, when we come and have a look, there are going to be a whole new generation. Right, so this one's going. Now, the queen might be laying eggs, but I don't know. So this is another bit of the foundation comb that we put in. I haven't seen any sign of Her Majesty yet. I'd quite like to see her, but I'm not going to get too worried. Yeah, that's the Varroa trap. So this was actually one of the original combs, but you can't see the queen. I'm just looking down to see whether she's there. And this is foundation, and you see they haven't actually started anything on that yet. So I would quite like to have seen the queen, but she is notable by her absence. She will probably have fled from the light, because they don't particularly like the light. Right, let's get you back into your places. Back over into its original spot. And finally we'll get this one back in there. Yeah, so we've got some nice sugar there, have we? Yeah, you can see all on the back wall there, loads of them. Alright, we'll let them carry on drawing out the comb. Okay. So And there we go. Put the top back on. We'll leave them to it. Now, these are Iberian bees and they are known for being a little bit aggressive, but they weren't too bad. But they are going to have probably a couple of guard bees for the next 24 hours around here. So if you are coming up here, it's probably a good idea just to be aware of that.
Less aggressive than I thought. It's nice. Nice to see all this life buzzing about.
That was our first hive inspection, and although we didn't see the queen, there's plenty of activity that suggests that she is there. There are eggs and there are larvae, and there's some capped brood and drone brood as well. I didn't see any queen cups, which would indicate that they're not planning on swarming. We've given them a little bit more space by splitting the hive when we went and picked it up, and they're starting to expand. The colony's just slightly going outwards, drawing up the comb, and they're starting to store nectar and honey. So that is very good news. They are still eating the fondant, so we'll leave that in there for a while because that'll give them just a little bit of extra oomph to get going. But I'm hoping that next time we open them up, next week, there'll be a lot more bees in there, and they might even have finished drawing out the comb. It does take an awful lot of energy for bees to make wax, so you know, they only do it where absolutely necessary. And when we picked it up, there was actually some drawn comb so hanging off the bottom of a couple of the frames. So what they've clearly done is they've gone and taken that and they put it up into the actual you know, frames. So good news. I hope you enjoyed the first inspection of the hive. What we're going to do now is we're going to fast forward to next week and we'll see what we can make by way of comparison to what we've just seen. We have such an incredible abundance of wildflowers at this time of year. Absolutely amazing. All of these beautiful plants growing wild. So there are a few objectives in actually opening up the hive. First of all, you're wanting to check that the bees are looking happy, and you know, that depends a lot whether there is a queen in the colony. If there is no queen, then they're going to be potentially getting slightly more aggressive. They're potentially going to be going out foraging more because they haven't got brood to look after. And obviously you're looking for brood. Now, brood is the eggs that have been laid, the larva that's capped off when it's developing, or when it's uncapped, it's still being fed with bee bread. So it's basically a mix of pollen and nectar. You're also looking, obviously, for the queen herself. It's a bonus if you can see her, but signs of the queen. Now, you know, signs of the queen tend to be eggs. Just one egg per cell, nice and neat, and off she goes. She can lay about 1,500 a day, which is an absolutely extraordinary amount. Then we're looking for honey. Are they storing honey? Have they got enough reserves? And we do give them some extra food, some fondant. And that fondant, in this case here, has just been there to give them a little bit of an extra boost. It's basically just sugar, some vitamins in there. And that is as they start to orientate themselves and find the food sources around here. And yeah, just give them a little bit of a head start. So I'm not trying to pretend in any way that I am a professional beekeeper. I'm not. We literally went down and got these bees 3 weeks ago, and I've since then inspected the hive once. So I'm looking to see whether there's any development in terms of have they drawn the comb out, because obviously, as I'm sure you know, bees make wax from honey because that's their food source, and it is an enormously labour-intensive device. It takes a lot of energy, and they're not going to make wax unless they have a reason to do so. So a reason to do so would be the queen is laying a lot, or they've got a lot of food to store, so they can afford to put the extra energy into it. I think bees are absolutely fascinating, and obviously everyone's going to be thinking, well, do you get stung a lot? Well, I have got stung once, but that was when I was wandering around on the tractor and not actually interacting, I thought, with the bees at all. Yeah, some people, of course, can, I don't want to downplay it, they can have severe allergic reactions called anaphylaxis to bee stings and other insect stings. I'm lucky in that, touch wood, that is not the case with me. But, you know, it's always possible to take an antihistamine as well, just in case you think that you might have a little bit of a reaction, reduce any itching that you might get. But to be honest, wasps hurt an awful lot more than bees. But these Iberian bees, they are renowned for being a little bit defensive. And I have to say, the first time that I saw an Iberian beehive being open, it was a real rush of adrenaline because they were just all around us straight away. So if you are thinking about getting into bees, just have a think about it. Go and, have a look and see what a professional beekeeper does. I had an absolutely wonderful, really good beekeeping lesson from the guys who we got the bees from. Now, just a little point here, they want to remain entirely anonymous, so we haven't done any filming of them, and we're not going to be mentioning them by name, but you know who you are, and they're brilliant. Thank you so much. So let's go and have a look at the beehive. What you doing? Arf. You don't like bees very much, do you, Maya? Do you like the bees? No. And they've got, let's have a look, what are they doing? Should hopefully be seeing ones coming backs and forwards with some forage. If you could survey this from now. You don't want to stand in front of the hive, because obviously they're coming in and out. I'm just going to give them a bit of smoke so that they know we're here. And probably starting to think, oh, forest fire, eat the honey. So, got the hive tool and got the lifter. So I'm going to take the top off. Put that over there. So this is the remnants of fondant. And you can see that they're all in there eating that, and that's a bit of supplementary food source for them. So I'm going to take the top off. It's going to give them a little woof of smoke. Good noise, eh? Now, as I said, the original colony was these ones here in the middle, and if you look down, you can see that they're sort of starting to draw out the comb and what have you. What we'll try and do is identify the drones and the workers. So here, the drones are slightly bigger, the workers are slightly smaller. So what I want to do is have a look at this one first, and then we'll sort of go down the frame and see what we can see. I'll just give it a bit of a loosening each side. Now I'm going to get this in there and hopefully pick it up without dropping it. Just gently see the difference? They're drawing the comb out. Can you see all that glistening in there? That is pollen. Not pollen, sorry, nectar. And honey is when it goes below about 18% water. Wow, pretty cool. You can see that one's got some pollen on its back feet, so is that one. They're storing, you can see some pollen stores in there. So what I'm going to do is just going to go off there a bit, just so quite so many flying around. And put that down. Now we want to have a look at the next one. This was a totally empty bit of foundation. Just give them a little bit of smoke. So what I want to see is what they're doing here. So this should be a slightly busier area. Okay. So this, look at all that. This is capped brood. So they are expanding the colony really fast. And we got, if you look in there, can you see all the larvae?
Oh yeah.
So nice, and when they get to a certain stage, they cap that off, and then they become, those will become worker bees. Just slightly loosen. You right?
Yeah.
Now this is really heavy comparatively. Now these are drone broods, the slightly larger ones, because drones are bigger, so they need more space. Quite a lot of drones coming through there. Now, I'm not so worried if we don't actually see the queen, because it's pretty obvious that she's laying. There's a lot of eggs going in there. Honey stores in amongst the brood. I haven't seen the queen. Oh, is that the queen or is that a drone? That's a drone. Yeah, we've got some honey stores. Lots and lots of brood. You can see all the different colours of pollen. Really cool. She's squishing the bees. Don't like it too much. Again, lots and lots of pollen, some cap stores, we've got some nectar. Just gently move some of these out of the way, because I don't want to squish them too much. Seen the queen. She's obviously there somewhere. She can lay 1,500 eggs a day. I mean, it's pretty impressive what they can do. Right, this is a Varroa mite trap. So I'm just going to see if I can get that out. Maybe not. I've glued it on. Right, lots of space there. Filling it up with eggs and what have you. Drawn comb. Glued it on, haven't you, bees? this now, because we don't really need that anymore. So, got a hole in it here. So they've been taking down the foundation to build up other bits. So all that lovely glistening liquid in there is nice sweetness. And we'll just have a look at the last one. So haven't seen the queen, but that's not too much of a worry. Drawing out the comb. So they've got plenty of space. When they don't have enough space, bees will start to swarm. And swarming is literally when the hive splits naturally, and the bees, off they go to find another place to expand the colony. And the way we do it, and to prevent them swarming, we give them more space by putting another box on top, which is the super. I'll get these all back in the right position because they don't like having things out of order. Sorry mate, got a bit squished in here. Should deal with any dead bees by taking them out of the hive. Unfortunately, it's inevitable that the old one gets squished, but we try not to flatten too many, you know. Okay, we'll get this one back in. There we go. Cool. First bee inspection. So they've got a little bit of the fondant left, so we'll put that back on just so they can finish it off. Won't be long until it's all gone. Amazing how many there are, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at all the colours of the pollen. Pretty cool. Okay. See you later, bees. So thank you very much indeed for watching. Please do continue to do all the liking and subscribing, and we do enjoy reading your comments. So if you've got anything you'd like to say, put it down below, and we'll show you the next time that we open them up, and we'll be able to make a comparison with what we saw today. You radio girl? Maya. You good? You're such a good girl. You are. That's a nice heavy one. Wow. Yeah, these are they're preparing us to swarm, because this is all these are drones, because drones are bigger. So yeah, we do need to put super on. So we'll actually go and get that and do that just after we've had a look through the rest of it, and put them into the centre. So we'll
les extérieurs?
Parce que l'intérieur, c'est le nid propre.
D'accord.